Hi, my name's Gordon. We bought this house, this cabin, last year. It's about going on 20 years old, and it's a really nice cabin. The issue is these foundation vents that they have down here. They're the Lomanco 189. In our case, they're the BR for brown, and they're about worn out. So these that are exposed to the sun get oxidized, they get rain on them, and they clog up and they won't open and close. You're supposed to open them in the summer and close them in the winter to keep the rain from coming in and the cold air. And then there's a mesh behind them to keep critters and bugs and stuff from getting in. And sometimes that mesh gets torn or old and it gets ripped. And then the critters can get in when you open it up. And we had a raccoon get under this and tore out all of the foundation insulation, and it's attempt to get out. This is before we bought it. Once I got under there after buying it, I found out that saw it all clawed down, and I had to replace all of it down in there. So this video, I've done several of them. You can see that this one's not done, but I did this one. This one was the one that the critter breached, and the screen in the back got torn, and that's the one that it got in. So I replaced that first, and now I've done about 6 of them. And I'm going to show you how to do it with this one. So I'm going to pause and turn around and show you the tools that you're going to need. Okay, obviously if you're going to replace a vent, you're going to need a replacement vent, a new one to go in. This is the replacement. I found one here at a local supplier. It's the Lomanco 189 BR. You're going to need safety glasses and gloves, a crowbar to get the old one out. I'm not going to use caulk to get it, or mortar to get it back in again. I'm going to use this caulking, which is easier, and then it sets it up to if you need to replace it again down the road. And of course a grinder. And the reason you need a grinder is when they set this mortar, the Lomanco has a groove in the side right here, you see, and the mortar will adhere to that. So you have to use a crowbar to get this old one out, but then to get the new one in, you have to grind that off in order to slide it in. The other issue is when they put this facade on, this log facade, the lip hangs down about 1/4 of an inch too far, and so I can't slide the new one in. It has to be a perfect square or rectangle for the new one to slide in. So I'm going to grind off a little bit of this in order to get the new one in. So that's why you need the grinder. So I'm going to start off with the crowbar and show you how to do that. So ours happens to be block, which is good. Block, when you use a crowbar against it, the only thing that you can damage is the mortar or the grout around here. But some of you have stucco, and the stucco around here, if you use a crowbar on it, the stucco will crack, and then you have some stucco repair that needs to do, repair the stucco and paint. So you need to be careful if you have stucco. We're lucky here with a block. So what I do is the first thing I do is I put the crowbar at the bottom of the vent like this, and you want to crush it inward. You want to crush it inward so that this comes in and this comes in. So as you push this up, the sides will come in like this, and that way it minimizes the chance of breaking the mortar and having to repair that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm holding the camera at the same time I'm doing this. So I'm going to crush this one from the middle in, and you see that this one came out pretty easy. It's coming out pretty easy. So I'm going to get my gloves on here, so I don't hurt my hand. Reach in there, and you can pull this old one out. You see that it came out pretty easily. So you can see over here that there's a little ridge right there. I can feel it even through my glove. There's a little bit of mortar down here at the bottom. There's a ridge over here, and sometimes if you run across the top here, there's a nail or two that you have to grind off. But basically this one looks pretty good. This one looks really, really good compared to the others that I've taken out. So I'm gonna get the grinder, I'm gonna grind this smooth, and then I'm gonna test by putting this in to see how good it fits. Then I'm gonna take a little off the top here, and then we'll set it. You can see the really good ridge right there, the impression from the Lomanco indent on the side. Even the pivot rivets you can see are there. So we're gonna grind that down on either side. And then anything along the bottom that needs cleaned up, we're gonna do that as well. In my case, I have the Makita 4-inch disc sander grinder that I'm gonna use to grind this down. So turn it on. Okay, I've got this ground down to where that ridge is missing, and then I ground this a little bit, and I ground this in a little bit, and I judge it. I take the new vent, and I put it in there to see if it'll slide in, and that's how I kind of judge where I need to grind stuff down. It looks like the middle's a little too fat still, so I need to grind that down. Wanted to point out that when I got over here, I made a little notch right here. And when I got over here, I made a little notch right here. So I'm gonna have to take off about 1/4 inch of the bottom of this fascia in order for the new vent to slide in as it should. Okay, so I ground the bottom here, I ground the side here, and I ground about 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch off the top of this. And the way I judge is I take the new one and I slide it in here, and if it'll go in straight like that, you can see that it's pretty much gonna fit in, slide straight in. Once I get it plumb, once I get it straight, it'll slide straight in with a little assistance. So the next thing I do is I put this caulking around it, and that serves two purposes. It kind of lubricates the sides and the top so that the vent will slide in better, but it also seals it. And then I put a little bit around the top as well. I use a putty knife, put some on a putty knife, and then dab it along the top. And that lubricates it and also seals it, so when I push it in, it does both. Okay, the silicone caulking that I use is GE Advanced Silicone, 100% waterproof, and I use the brown to match the brown of the Lomanco vent. And what I do is I put some along the bottom and on the side. I used a little bit of this yesterday, and so I plug it with a golf tee so it doesn't dry out. So remove the golf tee, a little stubby, and then apply a bead along the bottom here. I run the bead along the bottom, go up along here, in here, come along here, any place you think you need to seal it, but also to kind of lubricate it. So then I run a bead down here, down this, up to the top, down here. This is pretty easy to do. And if there's any places where the grout has come out, you put a little extra dab in there to kind of fill the hole. Gonna fill that hole. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use the caulk, and I'm gonna go over this grout, so it doesn't matter if it's chipped a little bit. So there you go. I don't think you can put too much in there. Sorry, I'm trying to hold the camera with one hand and do this with the other. So a little grout over here, a little grout over there. The more you do, the better it's lubricated and sealed. Then I'm gonna get a putty knife and put some underneath. Okay, now's the moment of truth. I've got that all set out. I went ahead and ground this down. You can see that I ground the top of this down. Now the moment of truth. I'm gonna put this in there and see if it'll slide in fine. You almost need both hands to do this, but I'm gonna put it in, and you can see that it's sliding in really nice. Slides in really, really nice with that stuff at the bottom. The bottom you have to kind of encourage a little bit. If it's not plumb, use the base of your hand, or you can get a piece of wood and tap it with a mallet. So that's what I'm going to do. It's set in there really well, And now all I have to do is seal it here and here and here, and we've got it. I'm gonna get a little mallet and wood and tap that in a little farther. Okay, I tapped it in. You can see I tapped it in a little farther here and here, and it's set pretty well now. And what you want to do is you want to articulate the vents to make sure they're going to open and close, and you can tell that it's pretty plumb. If it's askew a little bit, then these won't open very easily. So you can see that this is a lot better than what was there. I can open and close these with ease, and probably last me for another 20 years. I'll caulk around here and I'll caulk here and I'll come back. Okay, run a bead down there mainly to seal it if there's any kind of areas, and then you can take your finger and just kind of run it down like that, and it smooths it out. You see that it makes kind of a mess if you're not careful, but you can touch that up and make it look pretty good with a finger. So the wetter your finger is, the better it'll glide along that. So I'm gonna wet my finger just a little bit and glide it along there, and maybe make it look nicer. Okay, so there's that side. Now I'll come over here and I'll do the same thing over here, and see that there's a hole right here, so I'll kind of fix it a little bit. Mainly it's to achieve a seal on the side. There, we got that, and if you back off, it looks really good. Okay, this is before, and I move over to here, and this is after with the new one on.